Hey, what's up, Shining Otaku? I'm Irvin, and this segment is going to be called Manga Legends, where we briefly touch on the history of manga along with their creators. In this video, we will be touching on the history of the man who was coined with the moniker Godfather of anime and manga. He is also called the Walt Disney of Japan, but to say that would be an understatement to minimize the accomplishments he's made within his own right. That man is Osamu Tezuka. And without him, you probably wouldn't have your My Hero Academia, your Jujutsu Kaisen, your Demon Slayer. The work you would most be familiar with, if you're familiar with his work, would be ones like Kimba the White Lion, Blackjack, and most notably Astro Boy, which have had even an impact even within the Western animation media. Heck, you wouldn't even have some Disney properties like The Lion King, but we'll come back to that later. For this video, we found it fitting to go to the Osamu Tezuka Museum, set within Tezuka's hometown of Takarazuka. So grab your bags and let's dive in. Osamu Tezuka was born on November 3rd, 1928. During his childhood, he spent much of his time drawing insects, being inspired from many of the works he'd seen in Disney. Here you can see early signs of Osamu Tezuka's talent, from his early second grade drawings to this in middle school. Later during his teenage years, the world plunged into World War II. Propaganda was at an all-time high, and anyone who was interested in creating manga at the time were required to join the Shin Nippon Mangaka Kyokai, the new cartoonist association of Japan, a group created by the government that required all mangaka who sought to publish their works to join, which Tezuka was not in favor of. After the war ended, in the earliest beginnings of Tezuka's adulthood, he would attend medical school, and while he did have a love for science, he had an even bigger passion for the art of storytelling. Tezuka decided to pursue a career as a mangaka, releasing Shintaka Rajima, or New Treasure Island, on April 1947. While it did give a launching point into the industry, he was a few years away from another major publisher picking up his work. The next few years, he would continue to release works with other small-time local publishers until his first big hit, Jungle Emperor, also known elsewhere as Kimba the White Lion. Since we're on the topic of Kimba the White Lion, I want to quickly mention, if you've never heard of this series before, I definitely recommend reading up on it, as it's most likely the reason you have Disney's The Lion King. And no, trust me, I don't just mean that in name. Oh, it's ironic when your idols become your rivals, isn't it, Disney? Now, back at the topic at hand, Tezuka's next biggest success, and easily the most recognizable, was none other than The Mighty Atom, also known as Astro Boy, published in 1952. Within the same year, he began serialization of his work called Son Goku, the Monkey King, which was inspired by the Chinese novel Journey to the West. Ironically, at one point, Toei Animation was interested in adapting it, actually. And if you know anything about Toei Animation has adapted the Dragon Ball manga for the entirety of its run, even all the way up until Super, which has obviously heavy inspiration from Journey to the West, for those of you who don't know, but I think most of you guys out there know that. Funny of how things work out sometimes. The 1960s brought a change to the industry as a whole. Tezuka, working as a mangaka full-time, decided to launch his animation production studio, Mushi Productions, with the first release being what many consider to be the first weekly anime series, Astro Boy, in 1963. Launching as a major success the following year, the American broadcasting company NBC picked it up and brought it over to show in the United States. The rest is history. Years down the road, Osamu Tezuka would later channel his medical knowledge as a doctor into hit works such as Blackjack, published in 1973, showing he still had a love for science. His work ethic was incredible. working from sunup to sunup, cranking out those pages, and it showed definitely. In the span of his whole career, he pushed out over 500 series. 500. Do you realize how incredibly challenging that would be? Now, granted, he did have assistants and editors along the way, which did seem to annoy him just a little bit. But those of you out there who are artists and writers like myself know this is no easy feat to be laughed at. It takes some of the most skilled artists to finish even a page a day. That's not even counting his involvement as a producer and his animation company Mushi Productions. Unfortunately, he passed away on February 18, 1989 from stomach cancer. One can only imagine how much more he would have pushed out. Tezuka had influences not just from Disney, which he eventually did meet by the way, but from observing cinematic takes in film. He used manga as a medium to tell stories. If you ever have an opportunity to watch a documentary about his career, I encourage you, especially if you're a fan of manga and anime. After all, Osamu Tezuka is the father of manga and anime. Thank you guys for watching this video today. New segment that we decided to do. If you guys have a mangaka or manga creator, or someone who's in the comic industry that you would like for us to cover, to do a quick video on, just let us know, shoot us a video, and, we'll consider doing that. And make sure you guys also not only rate this video and give us a thumbs up, but subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you get any updates coming up or what we have coming out. Anyway, thank you guys for watching Shining Lights. We'll see you later.